Welcome. This week we're going to go over lessons 109 through 112. You may have noticed already that we have gotten a little bit away from all those strategies, working with addition, getting into some subtraction, and now we're going to kind of dabble in some other areas, some being geometry. We're going to get into some fractions, some money. Kids always like playing with money or learning about money. And I like the fact that Right Start kind of changes things up a little bit. We've kind of put a lot in up front, and now it's kind of like, all right, we have filled them up. Now we're going to use what they've learned in some different ways. They're also going to still be doing their sums practice from in the journal, and it varies now. It's not always a 4-digit addition, and you've seen that already. Anyway, let's go see what materials we need for this week. You'll need the geometry solids, the geometry panels, a ball, a funnel, and a cylindrical can. Mind you, if you don't have these, you'll probably have the can on hand for sure, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to find a ball. If you don't have a funnel, just having a picture of a funnel will work also. A bag, and you need the bag, so you're going to put the shapes into a bag so that the child's going to have to feel them to pull them out. This is optional: a book on pyramids, the 4-in-1 ruler, the centimeter cubes, their worksheet, the abacus, coins, and again, either the coins that came with Right Start or if you have real coins, the math card game book along with the money cards. Lesson 109, Geometry Solids. This is going to be a fun lesson for your child. For you, the parent, you may not think of it as much fun because you get to put together all those different shapes that are on the side under explanations. And you see there's some prisms you're putting together and then pyramids. It could be a little bit tedious. So I'm going to help you put together the cube. You're going to use the square geometry panels. Notice that there's perforated edges here. There's a notch at the top, there's a notch at the bottom. This is where the rubber bands will go. It's yellow on one side, it's white on the other side. Now, if you've not used these before, you want to take about 2 of them, and then you're going to just bend at the perforated line, and you want to bend the color towards the color, the color towards the color. All right? Because these need to be bent for these shapes to work well. Once you do that, you're going to need 6 of these for the cube, so go ahead and bend all 6. Then, to put them together, you're going to take where the white side goes with the white side. You'll line it up. Then you're going to put a rubber band around and hook so that both are in the rubber band. And you can see I'm going to pull a little bit, but not a lot because it will tear. We don't want it tearing. And if it does tear, if one of these perforated edges start to tear, just get some tape, put it on the side. It will hold it. I've done that many times. Again, white side to white side. Put your rubber band on. Again. So what I'm making is the sides of the cube. All right, you see, so now I have part of it made. So when putting the top and the bottom on, I'm just going to line up one of the perforated flaps to one of the perforated flaps. It's a little awkward holding on to it, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. And we're done. That's the cube. It's really nice to have one that you can build because there's something about getting to see it and touch it and move it around that it really helps to understand as we get in and talk about these different shapes. When you're building the pyramids, just know that in number 5, you're going to use all triangles. In number 6, you're going to use a square with triangles. In number 7, you're going to use the pentagon with triangles. In number 8, you're going to use the hexagon with triangles. As you walk through this lesson with your children, you're going to learn right alongside with them a reminder of what these are. You might want to review the terms pentagon and hexagon with your child. Pentagon has 5 sides, hexagon has 6. Then you're going to work with the pyramids. The pyramids are neat because you can have different kind of bases. In a square pyramid are the ones that are like the Egyptian pyramids. And then you have the hexagonal pyramids, and you have the pentagonal pyramids. So those are kind of cool how they all form pyramids, but yet their base could be a whole different shape. So in this section, the remaining solids, this is where you're going to need your ball, the cylindrical can, like a soup can or a vegetable can, and then a funnel. If you don't have a funnel, get a picture of a funnel. Basically what this is, you're going to show them a ball and then they're going to look for those shapes. You're going to show them the cylindrical can, they're going to look for a similar shape. Same with the funnel. They're going to find the cone. And then you have 2 games with a very interesting name. Look at that. I'm not even sure how you pronounce it. Stereognostic. And look at the explanation. It helps us to know what that means. It's just the ability to identify an object strictly by touch. This is where those bags are used. You're going to put these solids here, into the bag. Then you're going to say the name of the solid. Your child's going to reach into the bag and feel for that shape and then pull it out. Now here's a suggestion. It says just to say the names. If you want to write the names, I find that sometimes it's helpful for saying the name and we're showing the name. It just helps the child. I know they're still learning to read. These are big words, but it's just a thought. You don't have to do it, but you could just to start getting them familiar with what these words look like. In game 1, you are asking for this specific shape, and then they find it. In game 2, your child's going to put their hand into the bag, touch a shape, and then tell you what the name of that shape is before they pull it out. Lesson 110, building with cubes. This is also the lesson where if you have some books on pyramids, it's suggesting that you read them. Now, do you want to read them during math time and consider that math time? I don't know. It's up to you. You may have enough time to do that. However, I think it might be something you could do later at a different time, or maybe pull Dad into this when he gets home. Maybe that's something he could do, is read a book about pyramids, and then your child could share with him what they've been learning about pyramids. In the section on building cubes, it shows 3 different cubes that they're going to build. You know, we're working with volume here. We're not going to talk to the child about volume. They're going to learn more about that in the upper levels, but they're getting a brief foundational introduction to volume, but don't use that term with them yet. They're not ready for it yet. Let them just have fun with building these cubes. And because the cubes are made with centimeters, they're going to practice measuring with centimeters. This is where the 4-in-1 ruler will be used. And as they make a line of centimeters, they can line it up against the ruler to make sure it's straight. Now, this side has inches. This side is centimeters, and I would use this down here, the one that doesn't have as many lines. And you can see how a centimeter can line up. There we go. This is not as easy as I thought it would be, but I think you can see. So you can see the centimeter. They're going to build, say, 3 centimeters. You know, the ruler is going to lay flat, and then they can lay it up against it. And so it'll be a straight line, but it's also giving them practice of reading on the ruler. The activity on building pyramids. I consider this a little bit of a sneaky lesson on area, but we're not really talking about area. That's not our focus yet. But they're going to build these square prisms, and then they're going to stack them to make pyramids. They're going to make 2 different kind of pyramids. Then they're going to have to guess which one has more centimeter cubes. And then the worksheet is just going to give them additional practice. They're going to use the cubes and the ruler to line things up, to build the shapes if they need it. Some children may not need it. Don't force them. Let them be the ones to decide if they need to use them or not. Lesson 111, mentally adding with sums over 100. The activity on the first page, adding 10. If you need to, grab an abacus and try it out yourself. I find it really helpful. I like to do that too. I'm not going to show you the abacus in person because I think the pictures themselves explain it very well. So you look at that first abacus on the left at the top, it says entering 84. You're going to have 8, 10, 4 ones entered on side 2 of the abacus. Then they're going to add 50 or 5 10. They'll add that. Do they have enough 10s to trade for 100? Yes, they do. So then they're going to trade. What are they left with? 84 plus 50 equals 134. And you can see that. It's written on that page. So for the practice, it's giving you additional problems, and it says have the child do this without using their abacus at first. If they can't, of course, give them the abacus and let them use the abacus to try it. And the rest of this worksheet is just more practice of adding a multiple of 10 to a number. And then on the worksheet, it's kind of like previous worksheets. They're going to color in some squares, and if they do it right, they will have a specific design. Last lesson for this week, lesson 112, pennies, nickels, and dimes. So this is the first of 6 lessons specifically focusing on money. So all of next week, that's what your lessons are going to be on, money. But this is the introduction this week. You're just going to review pennies, nickels, and dimes, and then practice adding some different values. So you can use the coins that came in the kit, or if you have actual coins, I would recommend using those. I usually try to use real coins as much as possible. And then this activity, notice in the explanation to the right, it's going to give children an opportunity to apply their knowledge of tens. And then it gives some different skills of learning money. Like you got to learn the name of the money and then the value of the money. And then you're going to add the value of several different kind of coins. And then you'll be learning how to pick the fewest amount of coins for a value. And then it does talk about some obstacles that we have with the way the coins are made in the United States. So basically your activity is just giving them a nickel, a dime, and a penny, and then they're going to observe and notice differences about each of them. And then there's an activity of entering the value on the abacus. I think the way Right Start's abacus is designed is so helpful with learning money because, 1 bead equals a penny, 5 of the beads equals a nickel. Well, we already have those beads colored, so it makes it really easy to see when it's 5, then the whole row of beads is the same value as a dime. The game for this lesson is Money War, and you're going to need the cards. The money cards, I really appreciate that the pictures of the coins on here are actual pictures, like they're the actual coins. Some of these money games, you're going to need to use the cards. Some of these money games, you can use the actual coins. All right, for war, you're going to have to use the cards because you're going to only use the penny, the nickel, and the dime cards. You're going to mix them together. You're going to divide them so they're evenly among the players. You're just going to flip them over, and then which has the greater value, the nickel, so they get the cards. All right, we're done for this week. Get started on those shapes using the geometry panels so they'll be ready for the lesson. And I suggest for the 5th day, if you're doing a 4-day week, look at some areas where your child needs to strengthen in. Some of their math facts, is it double digit? Is it 4-digit addition? Do they need a little bit more work with subtraction? Pick a game they're familiar with playing, one that they've played before, and then play that game on the 5th day to work on that specific area. It's been a while since I've said this, but if you have any questions, you have any comments, you can contact us at the information on the screen. Join me next week as we go over lessons 113 through 116. Until then.